Yo! So, I've reached level 50, so I'm now able to provide you a in-depth analysis of the warrior class. So what I want to do in this video is to go to take a look at the skills and then take a look at the different aspects of the class in order to get a good idea of how it works. So let's get started with the skills. I won't spend too much on it because I've done that in CBT2 and there wasn't too many changes. However, if I get a lot of requests, I'll think about making a separate video where I tell the exact value of each skill, like damage and whatnot. But for now, I'll just take a quick glance of what everything does. So let's get started with the auto attack. So there was no changes there. Use the auto attack, or I call it auto attack, but it's left click attack basically. So you use it to recover some energy. It does moderate damage. You can upgrade it, so upgrading it allows you to do more damage. It doesn't upgrade the amount of energy you get back, and well, it also allows you to do more consecutive attacks, up to 6 attacks as opposed to 4 attacks at the first rank. So next we have the different shield bashes. So same as before, you have the normal right click shield bash, which you can chain it to 3 attacks at the last rank, and the last attack does a 3-second stun now, so it's much longer than before. And then you have the sidestep attack, which is right click and on the side, which also does a stun, but it's a short duration stun. It gives you some energy and it has a decent accuracy, so it hasn't changed at all. Next you have the different upgrades. So this allows you to charge a shield attack. It does 220% damage, and it does 3-second stun now, so I think it's longer. Also gives you some energy back. And then you have this skill, which has the same animation as the one in CBT2, but now instead of doing a knockback, it does a launch attack. So what I mean by launch attack is that it throws the target in the air, and after that the target is knocked down as well. So I'll try to show it on this mob right here. So as you can see, he went flying, and then he's knocked down, for a short duration. So this is a kind of attack in a kind of a type of crowd control that wasn't in CBT2. It's new, which also it's added at the same time as they added air attacks, like this one. Actually, let me try doing it again. I explained that in my oh, he died. I explained that in my combo effect video, but I'll explain it again later. I will go through the combo effects again later. So back to the skills. I explained this one already. So here you have HP into energy. So it hasn't changed at all. You have attack speed buff of 10%, so it only works for the left click attack. Here you have the dodge. Then you have the kicks. Sorry, the kicks didn't really change. The only thing they changed was that they added the air attack component on all of them, I think. Yeah. So you have the normal F kick, sorry, this one, and then you have the backward F kick, which does a knockdown if you unlock the level for it. This one. I don't think I'm missing any. Nope, that's it. And this last rank is a cancel kick. I'll mention those later because they're actually important. Next we have the spear, the dark spear, amazing skill in PvP. So it hasn't changed at all. They just added a small component to the skill. So it had a cooldown of 20 seconds, which is still the case, but now you can use it before the cooldown is over, but at the cost of reduced damage and no stun effect. So basically it's pointless to use it before the cooldown is over. And then we have this one, the charge, which is still the same. It's a knockback with a knockdown. And then we have this one, which I didn't take because it's still as worthless as before, if I believe the description. So it's like big AoE that does damage and does a bleeding effect. The bleeding effect is actually quite strong, but I still don't think the skill is worth it, except maybe for PvE. And next we have this one, and just like CBT2, I didn't take it because it's still as bad. So it's still the same thing. You can do consecutive attacks if you unlock the different upgrades. The one thing they did change though is that now it does a push away effect, but that only works on mobs. It doesn't work on players, it says in the description. So I want to actually separate push away from knockback because they're quite different. Push away basically just pushes your target backwards, but they can still do actions while this happens. Whereas knockback actually stuns you during the animation, so you can't, while you're being pushed back, you can't do anything with a knockback. So it's basically a stun. But in this case it's just push away, so it doesn't work as a stun, and it doesn't work on players in any way, so it's only for PvE. I guess it could be nice for PvE, but I still don't like it. The energy cost was largely reduced, but I still don't like it. Next we have this one. It hasn't changed at all, I believe. So still same thing. If you upgrade it, you can lower the stamina cost, because the stamina cost is quite high. You see, I only did 3 attacks and my stamina went to 0. So nothing changed here. Next we have this one. So this one was already in CBT2, but this time it has a launch component to it, and also the same cooldown thing. So if it has a 6-second cooldown, but if you use it before the cooldown is over, you can't launch the target in the air. The upgrade allows you to do the knockdown attack. So by pressing backwards and left click, I do this, but if I press space, I can do the knockdown attack instead. And this is still a very reliable knockdown. In fact, it's even more reliable than before because it has 100% accuracy, so the knockdown always lands, except when you use it before the cooldown is over, basically. But this is really good because accuracy is a rather big deal in PvE, since mobs that are like red or red mobs, you'll tend to miss a lot, which can be deadly for you. So yeah, 100% accuracy is a big deal. It's really nice. And then this one is the upgrade to the launch attack. Basically you do more damage, but at the cost of more FP. So FP is energy. They're still a bit inconsistent. Sometimes they say FP, sometimes just energy. I think the description is still a bit inconsistent. They need to fix a bit. So next we have the cleave. So the cleave hasn't changed, except that now it has a cooldown basically of 8 seconds, which it didn't have before. But you can use it before the cooldown is over at the cost of reduced damage. So the cleave, I didn't upgrade it because I don't think it's as good as before. The cooldown and cooldown reuse component thing, I don't know, I barely use it now, so I didn't bother upgrading it. Next you have the grab, which didn't change, still exactly the same thing. The block now, so the block hasn't changed at all. I don't think so, no, still the same. No change whatsoever. It's still as great as before. But now we have the shield counter, which comes with the block. So this actually changed. It's much more powerful and much more useful now. So the first one you unlock here allows you to stun for 5 seconds. 5 seconds, that's huge. It's really fucking long. And yeah, I just said fucking whatever. But it also allows you to regen stamina. So this is also a very nice part of the skill, because as you know, blocking takes stamina, and using the shield counter allows you to regenerate some of that stamina back in order to block longer. So it's really nice. A really nice upgrade to that skill. Then we have the next counter, which is a bit different in that it gives you some energy back, but it stuns for shorter duration, I think. The damage is also a bit weaker, but it's still the same requisite. You have to block once. And then we have the last type of counter. For this one you actually need to block 3 attacks, and you can do a 3-second stun with it. It does 320% damage and 10% of your max HP as additional damage. So this is basically a much more powerful version in terms of damage and stun, but the requisites are a pain in the ass. You need to block 3 times. I guess in PvE it's totally doable, but in PvP not so much. So next we have one of my favorite attacks, the shield attack. So it didn't change that much. It still allows you to dash a bit, like gain some space, like see, you dash forward a bit, and it stuns for a very short duration. It's probably like 1 second duration or something. The only change is that now it can do its air attack now. So when you launch a target and you follow up with that, you can do some extra damage. And just like before, you can upgrade it to do it 2 times in a row. And then here we have the shield attack cancel. I will go through the cancel attack later because it's really important. Next, what was it? Yeah, the dash, not dash, the sprint attack, I guess you could call it. So it's still the same. You can unlock different upgrades to the damage, and it gives more energy back. I didn't upgrade it because I don't think it's that good. And then you have those upgrades that allows you to chain it into other attacks, as you can see here. So the energy gain from this is decent, but I still don't really like it, so I didn't bother with it. And next we have one of my new favorite skills, the stab. So I talked about this skill in CBT2, and I mentioned that this skill might actually be very good, and that I needed to test it a bit more. And I've used it in this whole CBT, and I really think it's a really good skill. So this skill is not used that much by other warriors, but I think they will start using it more later, just like in previous CBTs where warriors didn't use the spear attack. I think they realized that this attack is really good. So this is the stab. Just like before, it has a range of 9 meters, and you can unlock an upgrade to chain it with other stabs, so you can do the stab several times in a row with those upgrades here. So it gives you some HP back. It has, as I said, a decent range. So the first attack hits at 4.5 meters, and the second and last attack hit up to 9 meters. It also applies a dot effect, a DOT effect. And what happened? And well, the drawback of the skill, I would say, is the damage. It's not really that high. It's moderate damage, but the fact that you can chain it by with the upgrades, that you can chain several of those attacks together, kind of make up for it. So I love the skill. I should also mention that you can it's a gap closer, basically. You can get closer to your target by spamming it. As you can see, it allows you to get closer on the target, which is also quite important. So definitely recommend the skill. Next we have the dash. Nothing was changed, still the same thing. You can unlock different upgrades in order to dash for longer durations, and this one allows you to block in a frontal cone everything that's thrown at you while dashing. So still the same thing as CBT2. So we have the taunt now. There wasn't any change? Oh, actually there was. So the taunt actually applies a debuff now, reduces your global defense, so magical, physical and ranged defense, by -5 at the first rank up to -15. It has a cooldown of 3 seconds now, and it costs 9 energy, as opposed to CBT2 where it costs stamina. Next we have the ground slam. So it didn't really change, except that now it has a cooldown of 15 seconds, but it has that cooldown component, so you can reuse before the cooldown is over at the cost of reduced damage, and also at the cost of no knockdown. So once again, it's completely worthless to use it if you don't wait for the cooldown, because you really want that knockdown effect. And last active skills is actually a new skill. This one wasn't in the previous CBTs. So this is a slashing attack. You can do 2 slashes, and then you can get this upgrade that allows you to do a third slash, which does a lot of damage. it's a really good skill in my opinion. You can really do a lot of damage, especially if you knock down the target, because it's a down attack and down smash. So the third attack actually hits 3 times, and it does at the last rank it does 420% 3 times. So that's a huge chunk of damage that you can even further improve with the down component. So definitely recommend it. Use this skill a lot. It has no cooldown. It has a decent it takes a decent amount of energy though, so you have to take that into consideration. And now we only have the passives left, so increase melee defense, increase range defense, magical defense, melee defense, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much it for the skills. I didn't go through into too many details, like I said, but if required, if I get enough comments, I will make another video where I go through all of that in more details. So now I want to talk about the different components of the warrior class, different aspects that are important. So the first important aspect is blocking. So blocking takes stamina. You can fully negate the damage done to you at the cost of your stamina. But one other important aspect is the energy you get back. You get back 25% of your energy every time you block, which is huge because energy can go down quite quick on the warrior. Like if I spam some skills, you see I'm already out of energy. Like this, and let's use some other skills. There we go, I don't have any energy left. And well, the left click attack doesn't give that much energy. It gives 15, so that's not a lot. But by blocking you are able to get a lot of energy back. This is huge. This allows you to spam a lot more. So you basically want to block every time. As every chance you get, you want to block just to get that energy back. The other part of it, I guess, is the stamina consumption. As I said, it takes stamina, so let's aggro this mob. So it takes stamina, as you can see. So before in CBT2 you could hold shift like this and you would get stamina back at the cost of HP. But now with the shield counter thing, you can actually use the shield to get some little stamina back and stun them and then combo with whatever you want. So let's actually take a look at the cone of the block protect. So as you can see here, it doesn't protect, it's this kind of angle basically. I don't think it protects in this angle. Oh, it does. No, it doesn't. Okay. So it's a quite strict angle. And of course, if it doesn't protect you in the back, so you can still get hit in the back. So it's mostly frontal attacks. Yeah, it's sometimes it's a bit weird, but you get. I think you get the gist of it. So what I want to go through next is the warrior's mobility. So the warrior has a insane amount of mobility compared to other melee classes like the giant. It's nearly impossible to get kited if you play properly. So you have this dash, which once upgraded can cover a huge amount of distance. Then you have the shield attack, which allows you also to dash a bit forward. So I can actually, if I unlock the upgrade, I can actually use it 2 times in a row, which allows you to cover even more ground. Then you have the stab, which, like I said, allows you to gain some distance as well. As you can see, so the first stab hits up to 5 to 9 meters, and then you can spam it in order to get closer to the target. And then you have this attack now that does a very short dash forward as well. So, oh, sorry about those sounds. Those are people declaring or losing wars, basically. So yeah, another guild declaring war to another guild. So yeah, in terms of mobility, the warrior is really great. You will hardly get kited. You even have like ranged attack, like the spear. Or you have attacks like this one. I'll try to do it. That allows you to get closer. So it's very difficult to get kited. And well, you can kite enemies with that as well. If you're in danger, it's easy for a warrior to just kite, like against a giant, for example. I wouldn't recommend going face to face. Sometimes it's good to kite the giant a bit and then use some other attacks. So yeah, it's a great class in terms of mobility, very, very mobile, which makes it very strong in that department. Like it's one of the strengths of the class, basically. But next I want to go through the crowd control, which is one of the other strengths of the class. You have a huge amount of crowd controls. So like the grab, the knocks down. You have other knockdown like this one. And then you have the attacks that launches the target in the air, like this one.